This call is being recorded.
Well, hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the Weight Loss Struggle podcast. I am Joy, the no-nonsense weight loss coach. I'm also a personal trainer, a sports nutrition coach, author of R3 Diet, a synergistic kinesiologist, which just means I go deep into the emotional fitness realm of things also, and an international speaker. So today, and before I just go into our guest of the day, I want to say why I'm actually doing this podcast. Over the years, when I sit down for an assessment with clients, I always hear their story. I always hear a client's story as far as where they are now, what they've experienced in the past, and where they want to go. And their stories blow me away. And it's unfortunate because I feel as if they don't, I almost feel as if the story is so important and people need to hear it and people need to know about it. But that's the one thing that most people never, ever hear. They may see a before and after picture. They may hear an after testimony and things of that nature. But they never, ever get to hear what that person encountered. And I feel like I've gotten to hear thousands of stories over the years, but I feel like they are so valuable. That's where people really get to hear somebody's journey on their road to optimized health, an optimal mind, an optimal body, an optimal way of living and lifestyle. And it's the story that's intriguing to me. And I feel as if when you hear somebody's story, there's parts of it. That's why you have to really pay attention. There's parts of it that you can resonate with, and you're like, man, I had that same issue. And so that person's mess can become their message, and you can get a nugget from. And then I also feel like there's parts of their story that you can use as kind of like a danger. There's a hole in the concrete right there. Don't keep walking forward. Caution, red tape, yellow tape, move around. And you can use it almost like a precaution to help you not to fall down that same path. If you hear that, man, that's what caused that person to struggle with that. And if you've never had that happen to you, you can avoid it. So it's one or two things. Either it's going to help you from a standpoint of just connecting with the story and knowing that if they did it, you can do it too, or just as using caution and saying, I'm not going down that road. Her story helped me to get myself together now, as opposed to afterwards trying to make it better because I've already done all the damage. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead without further ado. And I want to introduce you guys to Caryn. So Caryn, I want to first welcome you to the podcast today.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So just start off really quickly by letting us know 3 things about yourself. We already know your name is Caryn with a C. That's what I always like when it's a Caryn name. I know that's the question you get asked often. Oh, with a C or a K? So I'll let the listeners know it's Caryn with a C. And let us know 3 other things about you.
Well, I think I am a patient advocate, and that is something I say all day long. And I have not told my own story. I always tell other people's stories. I listen to others, and then I tell other people about these other patients of mine, and I never really talk about myself too much.
Wow.
And so that is one of the reasons that I enjoy these Facebook support groups. It helps me to have an outlet with people that are not my clients, are not my family, who already, has decided what they should tell me.
Exactly.
That's my
now,
answer.
when you say patient advocate, what exactly is that? That's your career. That's what you do. That's how you wake up and serve in the world. So what actually do you help patients with?
Yeah, so patient advocates are different than social workers, and in the way that we do a lot of the same things as care managers on our list of things that we do, but we just go about it differently. We don't rely so much on the known things like a place for mom or social services, calling up the Department of Aging, things like that.
Gotcha.
We're hands-on and emotionally involved with the community. And I take on, I specialize in taking on the toughest clients. So my catchment area are people who've already tried everything else and have not found the answers.
Well, I am so thankful to have you on the podcast today. And the reason why is because based on what you do for a living, it's like you said, you're emotionally involved, physically involved. Anytime you work in an area where you're helping people in that capacity all throughout the day, you have to make sure that you're doing something for yourself as well. You have to make sure that you have a way to release at the end of the day, because you're taking a lot in and you're giving a lot to the people that you're helping. So I am thankful that right now on the show, it's all about you. You can take off your hat that you usually have on, that's your serving hat and helping hat, take that off and have an open mind and just know that it's all about Caryn's story, Caryn's journey, and what you've been through and what you are doing now and what you need to do or would desire to do in the future. So let's go ahead and start with the past. And I want to find out exactly what I always like to start off with childhood, just because it sets things up, and usually it is a catalyst for a lot of our belief systems. So I just want to know in general, what was your childhood like in your opinion?
Well, I was very fortunate to have a really loving family and very supportive extended family, grandparents, aunts and uncles, that even my siblings didn't have, because once we were once I was a little bit older, everybody moved farther away, and so they didn't have that same lifestyle that I was able to take advantage of and have the benefit of. And I think that's part of why I have such a great attitude about the day, about things are full rather than empty when I start out, and I usually end up the day feeling pretty good.
So that is true, because when you have that solid foundation, it helps with so much. So like you said, you were fortunate enough to be in a position where you had a nice support system, strong, loving family. And let's talk about after that. At what point in your life did you have your biggest for personal health and wellness?
So I decided I was going to go to school for theater arts, which I guess because I had all this support system, I had an unrealistic goal. And I found that out pretty quickly when I went to do some auditions and realized that it was really not, I didn't want to give in that much time, and it wasn't really the lifestyle, and I already had a boyfriend that I was going to become engaged to shortly, and so I decided to take a job with my personal dentist, who led me into training with doctors, and to be, to have that stepping into the healthcare career, and my right away, my husband and I went from going out dancing and clubbing and doing live activities to going out to eat, enjoying our time together after work by making big meals. And I think that, my family is all very heavy. A lot of what we did in our life, my husband and myself had families who celebrations and everything from celebrating to funerals revolved around food.
Gotcha. So you noticed
quite a bit of weight right after getting married.
Gotcha. So at what point, because now that's really good, you know exactly kind of what led up to it. There was a lifestyle change. Everything was revolving around food. You were eating heavier meals, longer meals, everything, more food than normal, probably higher fat, salt, sugar foods, rich foods, all that good stuff. So now that it's starting to add up. And that's one thing that I find is really interesting. Some people are always like, I kind of looked in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? Because it doesn't add up in a day. It doesn't add up in a week. You just kind of, it's a gradual progression. But then all of a sudden you look up and it seems like a bunch of weight just piled on you overnight. So at what point in your life, through this new lifestyle that you had now, did you know that there was a problem and it was worse than what you thought?
Yeah. Well, we got into boating, and so I had to wear a bathing suit. So I realized that if I wanted to look good, but also to feel good, because boating is very strenuous. You have to throw the anchor, pull the ropes, jump on and off the deck, and so I realized that I needed to get in shape. And I was probably 25 then.
Okay.
And so I started to, also because I always enjoyed being around the healthcare field. There was no smoking. People were living. I had the opportunity to be able to be around support for, doing things in a healthier way. So I started to bring my food with me and to work together with my, staff members to, when we went to the diner for lunch, I would have the salad instead of having, the big meal, and just little changes that became really a lifetime habit of searching for ways to improve my health. And as I got older, it was to stave off some of the things that I see people my age going through, diabetes related, everything that I was had to deal with my clients. I was realizing that I could fall victim to them very easily if I let myself go, which I did, several times, up and down like everybody else. Not, I didn't live a perfect lifestyle for the last 40 years. I've as many ups and downs.
And that's really key. So, and that's why I like that you kind of started us off with the very first experience where you noticed, you had let things get out of control, and you noticed that you needed to take action to get your body and your strength and energy and mind back where you wanted it again. And so that was the first time when you were 25, and you experienced it again at different points in your life. And so you're saying that now you're at a point where you look at other people who are in your age group and you're seeing some of the symptoms and issues that they're experiencing, and you don't want that. And that's actually really common for people who work in any capacity of the health industry, because of the fact that you don't want to feel like a hypocrite. You don't want to feel like you're going and you're talking the talk and talking to people about what's best for their lifestyle, and you're still, your blood work isn't on point, or your energy levels are low, or your state of mind is in a depressed state. You want to make sure that just like you're telling them about the benefits of it, you're experiencing those benefits as well. Is that kind of what you feel as well?
Yes. And I did have one particular client that really emotionally hit me because I worked with him for 3 years, and he really was not able to overcome his blockages to be able to get well. And really, it was all lifestyle. And every place I took him, every doctor, every program, even to try to get him into a bariatric surgical program, nothing really worked. And that really made me say that even though people said, "Oh, you look fine. You don't look heavy. You look young," I just realized that there were a lot of times that it was hitting me, and I would come home and use food to make myself better, and I was really replicating his problems.
Wow, that's so true. That's so true. And again, this is one of the reasons why at the beginning of the show I mentioned why different practitioners need to have ways that they can release, because when you are taking on that energy, you are taking that on when you're talking, connecting, and helping someone with those situations. It can basically, it's almost like it can jump onto you, onto your aura, onto who you are. And like you said, you take on some of those similar actions, and you're like, whoa, like, how is this even possible? But it's very, very possible. And if you don't release it, or if you just ignore it and think it's not that powerful, then you could find yourself in a very similar situation. And it starts off with those habits. Everything starts off with the thought, and then the habits, or the actions, then the habits, and then after the habits, that's when you start to experience the consequences of that action. So so this is really, really interesting. Now, when you whatever happened with that patient, did he ever get recovery, or did he?
He did not, and in fact,
okay.
I just spoke to him yesterday, and he was on his way to a nursing home. 67 years old, an attorney.
Wow.
Just very, very sad story.
Wow.
And I have a number of clients who are in their mid 50s, mid 60s, and they have the problems of 90-year-olds because of lifestyle. And I also, recently I was in an emergency room, which I'm there a lot with different patients, and all of the caregivers there were talking about going to get a drink after they left the emergency room.
Wow.
We were all waiting, you're waiting and waiting and waiting, so we get to talk to each other. And we were talking about our own, feelings about being in the emergency room. The patient was lying on the gurney being attended to, and the caregiver was running downstairs to get something quick from the cafeteria, so they were buying chips and a soda. And I had my bag with me, so everybody's like, "What do you? That's a good idea," but nobody was willing to try my green stuff.
Right, exactly.
And I, even felt that I couldn't really say to them. I didn't know how to say to them in a way that didn't sound judgmental, and so I just didn't say anything. And that's something I think I'd like to work on. I didn't feel that I could say to them, how about let's do some breathing exercises or some tapping instead of going to that drink, because I would have gone. I have done that. I have said I had a hard day at work. Let me open a bottle of wine. I understand very much where they're coming from, and I also know the difference that I feel by not doing that, and how much the caregivers need that.
Exactly. And see, and that's the key, because you just answered your question, because you're like, I see that, they have this, they're basically just, their energy is low or their stress is high, and they're just reaching for junk food or sodas or, unhealthy alternatives. And in your mind, you want to say something, but you don't want to feel, you want to let them know, hey, I was there too. I'm telling you from experience and how there's a difference if and I want you to experience the difference for yourself. And so the best way in that case is, hey, if it's on your heart to do it, if it's something that was kind of tugging at you and you walked away without opening your mouth and saying anything, then that just means that you want to find a different way to go about it. So maybe your way of going about it is, okay, I want to have, a lunch and learn with these local health practitioners and health offices. I'll reach out to them and I'll, offer to do a free lunch and learn where I'll come in and I'll tell them about this and then, challenge them to do it for a week or whatever. And that's the key right there. If it's on your heart to help, then that means you have a way that you can do it as well. You just have to take a moment and just think, like, what way would I prefer to do this? Would I prefer to come in and do a live lunch and learn? Would I prefer to do a teleconference where they can all call in and I tell them about different things? Do I want to bring something there so that they can taste that, having these options can taste delicious in addition to being good for you? How do I want to help people in this way? Have you ever thought about that?
No, that's a great coaching.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I always say if it's something that's on your heart toward a situation, then that means you're the one to do it. Or in your area, sometimes it's like nobody else in your area is stepping up to do that particular thing. So since it means a lot to you, you're the one that's supposed to step up and make it happen and then help people in that way. And then they'll be all ears. Then they'll be appreciative of it. Then they'll see what the difference is. And you're coming from a place where you want to help. You're coming from a place where you're seeing what just happened, to the 70-something-year-old attorney, and now his quality of life is low. And you know what that's like. And you said something very powerful that I hope a lot of people listening paid attention to, because I see this a lot as well, and that is there are lots of people in their 50s that's having issues that just 10 decades ago, just 7, 8 decades ago, these were issues that were happening with 80 and 90-year-olds, and now 50-year-olds are being diagnosed with those same issues. They're being prescribed drugs for those same issues in their 50s, and that should not be. That's not supposed to be the norm, and that's what ends up happening. They end up allowing that to be their norm. So what do you feel in your case, Caryn? What do you feel like your most recent struggle was? Is it the situation with the 77-year-old patient where it caused you to start having?
I think, the biggest, one of the things on your questionnaire that I had to struggle to put down, but just had to face it, is that I was very involved in the health reform movement during the Clinton plan, putting together, even before that. And so when the Clinton plan was starting to come about, I was lucky enough to be part of the committees, on a very high level in Washington. I was at the first meeting of for the privacy HIPAA discussions. And I'll tell you, I have never had a client ask me to keep things private. They all say, please find me any information, ask anybody, just, get me the information that I need. And so I, as you said, I am that kind of person who said, well, there's a hole here and I'm the one to fill it, because I started my business in 1976 as soon as doctors had the right to advertise, doing advertising and marketing for doctors. And so in the 1990s, I started a physician-owned HMO in New York City, which and I had to raise the money and write the whole application, which lets you, gives you your PhD in understanding the whole healthcare system. So I was so excited and so enthused about the possibilities at that time. And I also went on the Fen-Phen diet, which to me was very good, because I had a great coach and doctor and personal trainer to support me. A lot of people that had problems did because they didn't eat. They'd say, "Oh, I don't even feel hungry," so they didn't eat at all, and they had nutritional problems. And I had a very good experience with it. And then basically what happened was that the insurance companies came and bought the doctors out. They gave them offers that they felt they couldn't refuse, although they could have refused. And so that was an appointment to me. And
what year was that?
That was in the early part of the 90s, 1990s.
Sure was. Yep.
And even into 2000, where the insurance companies started to enforce or use some of the contract language to change the way that doctors ran their practices. Originally, first they had to sign them all up. Once they got them signed up, then they started saying, well, you're signed up. You have to do this. You have to do that. And doctors were saying, well, how are the insurance companies running my practice? And it was because, they signed those contracts that I had been going around giving a talk called Greedy, Lazy, and Cheap, which was, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And don't be lazy and not learn what's going on here when you're signing these contracts. And too cheap was that they did not hire the people, the consultants that could have helped them. They all did it in a vacuum. If I don't sign this contract, my neighbor will, and he'll get all the business. So that's really what started the ruining of the healthcare system. And then, Obamacare attempted to have a very naive, I think it was a naive look at what could be accomplished with the participation of the insurance companies. They didn't that's who was there at all those meetings, and I was there at those meetings. I was thrown out of a lot of those meetings because I was, willing to. I didn't have any boss, and I had a lot of supporters. I worked with a lot of the unions, and so I was the one that was sent there to open my mouth and say, this isn't going to work, or this should be done a different way. But the insurance companies had powerful lobby, and just like that was the way that they got rid of the Clinton plan. And this time, around right now, what we're dealing with is a vacuum of hearing from the insurance companies. And you notice there's no real reporting. No ads on the paper, on TV, paper stuff from the insurance company saying support Trump or get rid of Trump or whatever.
Right.
Where are they? And you know what? They are just sitting in the coop, up in their towers and laughing at the whole thing because as long as, they are the ones running it right now, there is nothing else. There is no other game in town. And so when you go, the reason that I was there with caregivers so long in the emergency room, there weren't any doctors around all day long. We were there for 18 hours without seeing a doctor. There were no doctors working. And then finally some, young doctors who need to try to make some side money show up in the evening and run around and try to catch up with what went on all day. And you wait around all night and then go to finally get up into a room, and there's one nurse for a whole floor. So trying to say that the healthcare system waiting around and saying, I'm going to get to a doctor and the doctor is going to solve my problem. It's just non-existent.
That's right.
And that's really, what made me say, I have to, and encourage all of my clients to take their health in their own hands.
Preventative is the way to go, and I will say that patients and clients and the general population, they've come a long way with that. So it's not this taboo thing anymore for you to consider, having preventative care, and you're interested in supplements and herbs and organic foods or healthy, fast, simplistic recipes to make sure that you don't have some of those issues that normally you would have, and you would just take a prescribed drug for it, and that would be it. And you're seeing doctors regularly, and all of this. And so now people want a better quality of living. They want to live longer, and they don't want to live long and unhealthy. They want to live long and still have energy and vitality and somewhat youthfulness to be able to go out and do things that they enjoy and love and enjoy life while they're here. So it is a different mindset in general now. And with that mindset, I find that people are more open to preventative care versus treatments and getting all these ailments just treated, or what they think is being treated. It's a different mindset. So it's coming along, and it is changing, and that's why you see these movements, and that's why you do have to get out the bullhorn and kind of scream through mountaintops, letting people know what options they have. And so that, like I said, I could tell just by listening to you that it's not an accident, the different things you were a part of, and those different political campaigns, and what you had to deal with the insurance companies, and even the time where you were advertising for doctors, and what that experience was like. Like you've been building a platform for yourself, and and you are ready. It's like you can't wait to become more ready. You're ready right now because you have a message right now. And it's people who need to hear your message so that you can help them go to the next level. So what about you and where you want to go now? Where do you want to go with your health now? What's the most important thing that you want to do and see done with your health within the next 3 months?
Well, I'd like to, you just said all those things. That's exactly what it is. I think I'd like to, I have spent the last, 17 years, since 2001, trying to refocus my business and build this business. And in my former business of helping people to start businesses, I always said that it takes at least a year to make your money back, and 2 years to know that you're even in the business, and 3 or 4 or 5 years before you really can say that you're part of that industry and that you really have a solid business going. So that actually really took me all these 17 years. It's really just now that I know that my referral base is stable, that I have clients that I have on a monthly basis. I have a stable income. I can not feel pressured to have to go to every networking event. And so I guess I'm looking for some way to replace the leisure part of my life that I enjoyed, because when I did have a financial downturn, after changing the business model. And so we gave up the boat, and I didn't buy a new car for a long time. I didn't have to go into the business. And I have been, I did join a couple of Facebook groups. I did just finished the Dr. Sarah detox, which 7-day detox, and I just signed up for the 8-week program that helps you to learn how to sleep and how to avoid some of your stress and refocus your thinking. I guess I need to figure out a way to focus my thinking on myself a little more than just business, and then, a few minutes for family. And so I am buying a new car to treat myself. And I did this morning to prepare for this, I listened to an hour of guided meditation before I got up. and
Wow.
I'm having my green kale shake here next to me while we're talking.
Awesome. I
Works.
love it
I
because
just feel like I'm, working at it, and I like to feel that, where's my fun time.
that's right. That's right. Because you've carved out the time and made business a priority and working and helping a priority. And now it sounds like you're making time to make yourself a priority so that your inner, the inner, and that's the key, is that inner nourishing that you need to give yourself. And now it sounds like you're ready for it. A question that I like to ask each and every one of my guests, because this is probably my favorite question, only because I can tell that people, they always, well, I'll tell you afterwards, but I'll just ask it first. And that is, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? If you can go back in time and give your 20-year-old self some advice, what would you say to her?
I think I've probably heard this from somebody else, but I would say, give yourself a break. Don't take it so seriously. Nothing. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. My advice.
That's good. And the reason why I like to ask that question, what I was going to say is, most people, they don't even have to think hard on that, and you just proved it. It came right out, because you know what that most important thing is, that at 20 you didn't know that was that big of a deal. So you didn't know that just letting go was important at 20, but now you do. And so knowing that you would tell that to your 20-year-old self is powerful, because it helps you to realize some things where real value needs to be placed. And that's the key. Like, there's certain things in life that you value. There's certain things that are your priorities. But if you in any way, shape, or form, get things out of place, and you value something that really shouldn't be valued, or you are not giving attention to something that really needs attention, then your life is upside down and you don't know why. And it's just because of your arrangement. You have to rearrange things in a place where the true valuable things are at the top. And what are the true valuable things? The true valuable things are things like, your spirituality, your business, how you express yourself, or your purpose. That's all in the same category to me. Your relationships, and how you're expressing yourself in the world, and making sure that you are not just loving others, like I mentioned, in relationship, but numero uno, loving yourself. And when you love yourself, there's actions that happen that prove that you're loving yourself. You just mentioned something that I call that's part of a morning ritual or a morning routine that I talk a lot about people needing to have, that you just mentioned to people. That was a big nugget that I hope they didn't let just fly past their ears. And that is, you just said, you did a little meditation. You nourished your inner. Now you nourished your body by drinking your green kale smoothie. And now, listen, you're expressing yourself on this show, and also getting tips for yourself. So this is this is how you set your navigation for your day, where you set your navigation with positivity and expectation and intention. Intention meaning what you desire to happen, the direction you want it to go in. If you set a navigation on your car and you're going from Florida to New York, you are setting it in the path that you want it to get you there, and you're trusting and that it's going to get you there in the safest and fastest way possible. And that is what we do when we set our intention and start off with a morning ritual, is we're just saying, you know what? There's 24 hours in a day. Everybody has the same 24 hours, but I want to set my navigation first for this day. I want to set it in the direction of where I want it to go. And guess what's going to happen at this point on? You're going to have happy surprises along your path today. Different opportunities, different people that show up in your life, different situations that show up in your life that it's going to match that initial vibration and intention that you put out. How awesome is that?
Yes, it is awesome, and I know I have an awesome day today, ranging from, so many. I get a chance to do a lot of different things. Today I did join a guided. I don't really know what she calls it. It's a program where we go to this person's basement, where they she set it up with a gong and a fire pit and a waterfall, and it's a lot of teachers are there and people who have high stress jobs, and we lie on the floor and she talks and we lie there and rest. But she also taught us some qigong exercises. And so I do that every day in the shower. So that only takes me about 5 minutes. So even though you only have a few minutes, it has really made such a change in how I get out there every day, feeling that I did. I didn't have to go to the gym. It didn't cost me any money. It's sort of like stretching exercises. It's not as physical as yoga in class, or I didn't have to really learn anything. And I do emotional freedom technique every day to support myself, even throughout the day. And I've had over my recent career many times that I've had to help people to go to the other side. And this week I've had actually 3 people that and to see how these people who are at the end of their life can go there feeling good about themselves, feeling relaxed and feeling that they did what they accomplished what they were here for, and that they know that their family is set up. Even families that are really screwed up are
right.
They can still go with an easy conscience and an easy heart that they did that best that they could. So that's really a nice thing to see, and gives me a lot of emotional.
Awesome. And guys, if you're listening and you heard her say emotional freedom technique, if you Google that you can just Google EFT for short, and a lot of good information on what that is. These are just different modalities, guys, and these different modalities are to help either reverse, retrain, rebuild our bodies, our minds, our spirits, all that stuff. We need to make sure that we're nourishing. You would not have a new car like Caryn just bought and never wash it. You would always take care of it, maintain it, clean it, and so therefore you'll get a better experience from it when you take care of it. And so it's the same thing with our bodies. When you maintain it properly, you get to utilize it and to the max and experience the benefits to the max. So without further ado, Caryn, do you have a website that people can go to if they want to find out more information about how you can help them with your business or with what you help people with? Do you have that website set up yet?
Yes, it's actually been there since 1983.
Wow.
And it's called Get, like 3 words but 1 word altogether. The word Get, G-E-T, Health, H-E-A-L-P-H, like healthcare, and help, like help. GetHealthHelp.com. And there's information about me, tips, and also a blog and some fiction writing that I've done.
Ooh.
And also I am a mentor with the Alliance for Professional Health Advocates. That and help people who want to get into the business of becoming a patient advocate.
Oh, that's awesome. So if you guys are interested in that and want to learn more about it, then definitely reach out and Caryn will help you with that. I want to thank everybody who showed up and listened today. Very, very informative, very, very good information. If you also have not, and let me make sure I leave my website with you. You can go to my website at fitinthecitybootcamp.com, fitinthecitybootcamp.com, or r3method.com. Fitinthecitybootcamp.com is where I have my 6-month fitness challenge. It includes fitness, detox, and mindset. And then if you're someone that has more emotional issues, deep into a complete inner and outer transformation, then the best challenge is my R3 Method challenge. It has self-love therapy modalities and energy work that I help you with personally. So you go to r3method.com to take that challenge. So without further ado, guys, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy our bodies. Our bodies are amazing. Our minds are amazing. And the bottom line is you could have a $1,000 phone on your table right now. And if you only know how to text, then that means you're not using it to its full capacity. You're missing out on a lot of other ways and benefits that phone is ready and willing to give to you, but you to go in and use it to its fullness. And that's how it is with our bodies and minds. It has so many capabilities. But if all you do is walk, talk, and eat, then you're missing out on most of the ways that our bodies can just really show up in the world and show out in a way that is full of energy, passion, excitement, love. And that's what life should be all about, to the max, not lackluster, not below average. It should be to the max, having these experiences where these areas in your life are just feeling completely fulfilled. And if there is an area like your health and body and weight and any part of your area that you feel like can use improvement, guess what? That's what it's your job to make it a priority to give it what it needs. So until next time, guys, R3 for life. Enjoy the rest of this day. Thank you again, Caryn. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.